Ladies and dudes, I got a big giant surprise for all of you. And I know it's going to sound funny, but just hear me out. Thanks to YouTube, we have finally seen the fourth Rurouni Kenshin movie. And I will say, this is one of the best films I have ever seen so far from this year. And I'll go ahead and tell you about it right now. So let's get this whole thing started. Well, anyway, hi ladies and dudes. This is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop97. This is my review for today. And today, I have a review, ladies and dudes. And I finally found that Rurouni Kenshin film at long last. And this is the fourth time that I did see a Rurouni Kenshin movie on YouTube. Well, thanks to a YouTuber, whoever he or she is, somebody did upload that movie. I forgot which day. Friday, Saturday, whichever it is. But boy, I was so darn happy that I finally got to see this movie on YouTube yesterday. And it also happened at the same day when I also did see Super Dragon Ball Heroes episode 36. After all, that was the most insane episode I did watch so far. And it's weird to see Perfect Cell showing up, and he saved everybody from the wrath of Black Goku. Well, if you guys did see Super Dragon Ball Heroes yesterday, that was the most insane episode I've ever seen so far. And it's weird to see Perfect Cell again. Well, if you guys get the picture. But anyway, let's move on to my next movie review. And like I said, I finally saw this movie at long last, or finally seen this movie at long last. And I can't believe it. I was blown away from this next film, if you know what I mean. So, let's head on to that very important movie review I'm going to do for today. And also one of my main hopes of which movie that I really want to do for review. So, for my next movie review is Rurouni Kenshin 4, The Final. And yes, we are finally here on the very important saga that we haven't seen from the original anime series. Something we did not see from many years ago. But there was a manga story about it, that's for sure. And yes, I did do my homework for it, ladies and dudes. I did study the Inishi arc and see which parts that will be there from the movie. You know, some parts that will be there in the manga. Well, if you guys get the picture. So, here we go, ladies and dudes. Let's head on to my next movie review of Rurouni Kenshin 4, The Final. So let's get on to the main plot of the story. It took place 1 year after the event of Rurouni Kenshin 3, The Legend Ends, my favorite movie that was in the trilogy, and now we're on to the fourth one. It took place 1 year later. Everybody's moving on and living in peace, and Kenshin is starting on a brand new life in Tokyo, Japan, with Miss Kaoru, Yahiko, Sonosuke, and Miss Megumi, and everything was a-okay for like, 1 year had passed and all that stuff. And now Kenshin only has one enemy left that he has to face. And this enemy that he knew came from in his past. A guy who is known as the little brother of his former wife. And this guy wants to seek out revenge for what had happened from the last 15 years ago. Something that was pretty darn tragic. I guess that's all I could say about the main plot of the story of Rurouni Kenshin 4, the final. And I guess everybody wants to know is, what the heck do I think about this movie? Well, to tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, I did enjoy this movie. I will say it's one of the best films I did see so far in the year of 2021. It did a little bit better than The Legend Ends, that I will say. But it still has a few issues here and there, to tell you the truth. I mean, this movie really did blew me away from start to finish. Even if there's a few parts missing from the movie, that I will admit. I will say, it had a pretty good storyline. For the most part, the characters are likable. The action scenes are pretty well done. It has beautiful cinematography, fantastic choreography of the fight scenes, the costume designs, and of the setting. And I really like Anishi's house. That house is pretty darn beautiful and unique. And yes, ladies and dudes, I will admit there was one character who did return. That came from the Kyoto Infirm and The Legend Ends. But like I said, I don't want to spoil this character. You gotta see this movie for yourself. So anyway, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my strongest points and the weakest points of Rurouni Kenshin 4, the final. I will say for the strongest points for this movie is truly the storyline. I really did enjoy the storyline for this movie, from start to finish. And yeah, there's a whole ton of events going on in the movie. There were a couple of scenes here and there that was not in the manga, that's for sure. Like in the beginning, we saw Hajime Sayo had to go on this train and find the enemy that he was looking for. Surprisingly to say, well, he did it again, back at Kyoto Infirm, that he did found Lord Shishio first, before our heroes will. So he found an enemy again that will be a part of the main part of the story. I like little pieces here and there that will be a sneak peek for the next Rurouni Kenshin movie to come. That's coming really soon. Whenever we can see it this year. I don't want to spoil that. It says we haven't seen the movie yet. And yeah, the fight scenes are pretty well done, very well detailed. I do love this storyline from start to finish. I will say it's one of the best storylines I did see so far from a Rurouni Kenshin live action film. And yeah, I did enjoy the storyline for what it is. Now, I will say for my strongest points for this movie is the storyline. And yes, I will admit there is a few weak points here and there in this movie. I'll go with the two main weak points. The first one, I wish there's some parts of the film that I wish it should have been there that was in the manga. I wish there was a part in the movie that was in the manga. I wish there was a part where Inishi threw a gun on Kenshin's head, and you'll see a little bit of blood in Kenshin's head after Inishi threw the gun on Kenshin's head, when he had the mad look on his face. I wish that part in the manga, I wish it should have been there in the film. And I wish there was a part, something about the end that was in the story of the Inishi arc that came from the manga saga. Yeah, to tell you the truth is, I wish there were some parts that was in the manga that should have been there in the film. Maybe just a little bit, but not a whole lot. And another weak point I found with this movie is poor Lord Aoshi. I was so darn happy to see Lord Aoshi again. I thought that he might have a little bit of a bigger role in this film. Since it is true, in the Inishi arc, he did have a little bit of bigger role in the story. But sadly, in the movie, he had a small role in it, and it sucks. It sucks that we did not see what the heck happened to him after when he tried to save a couple of people's lives from dying. Oh, I just wish I could see a little bit more of Lord Aoshi. He is one of the best characters that came from in the Rurouni Kenshin anime and the manga as well. It's a sad shame. I feel bad for poor Lord Aoshi. So yeah, my main weak point of the movie is I wish there were some parts that was in the manga that I wish it should have been there in the film. And I wish that Lord Aoshi should have a little bit more of a role in the film. If you know what I mean. And now, let's head on to the characters. I really cared about everybody in the film. I cared about Kenshin, I cared about Miss Karu, and Miss Megumi, Sanosuke, Yahiko, Hajime Sato, Mizal. I care about everybody in this film. But yeah, I'll go with one character I really need to talk about in this review, and that is Inishi, played by this actor I really don't know of, since I can't say the Japanese people's names that well. The only Japanese person I ever known in my life is Hayao Miyazaki. You know, he had the most easiest name out of everybody else, and since it'll be hard for me to pronounce everybody's names. But maybe one day I'll practice. But let's head on to Inishi, played by this actor I really don't know of. I will say the actor who played Inishi, he did a pretty good job of playing a character who was really the brother of Kenshin's former wife. I mean, this guy had a really tough storyline, and he had a really cool personality and attitude. He's just a tragic character. It's just that he can be misunderstood sometimes, and there are some times that he's taking his revenge into the wrong way. The only thing that he cares about is what just happened to his sister. If you pay attention to the Samurai X Trust and Betrayal story very carefully. Yeah, I do feel sorry for this guy, and I understand his pain and sorrow. And sometimes we gotta learn that there's some people out there who are not all that bad. They are just misunderstood. And they just have a tragic past. What else I could say? So yeah, I will say that guy who played Inishi, I think he did a really good job of playing with this very important character, the final enemy that Kenshin needs to face. And yes, the final fight scene between Kenshin and Inishi is pretty darn cool looking, and it's very well done and very well detailed. And yeah, it's going to be a very brutal fight. That is for sure. Yep. And I think I don't have anything else to say about this one. So here's my final thoughts of Rurouni Kenshin 4, the final. Overall, Rurouni Kenshin 4, the final, is one of the best films we did see so far in the year of 2021. It had a really good storyline. The characters were pretty darn likable, has beautiful cinematography, great fight scenes, fantastic choreography of the fight scenes, and the costume design, the casting, and yeah, there's some weak points I did found with this film here and there, sadly to say. But it won't stop there, what my rating will be. So I decided to give this movie a 9.2 out of 10. I really did enjoy this movie very much, and I'm very happy that we finally got the saga that we've been waiting for the last 20-something years ago. That's for sure. And that's my whole entire movie review of Rurouni Kenshin for the final. I hope you enjoyed this movie review. And coming really soon in the main future, I will do the final Rurouni Kenshin movie, and that is the beginning. The story of Samurai X Trust and Betrayal. I can't wait to see that movie. It'll be the most biggest film of all. That's for sure. So, that is it for now. I'll see you guys later, and sayonara.